All right, pre-cal, here's our next solving polynomials example. So we are going to do this one, and hopefully this will help solidify the stuff I talked about in the last video. I'm going to list out everything for you in the order that you need to do it. So the very first thing I'm going to look at is the degree. Well, the degree is 3. So the very first question I want to ask is, can I factor? Well, factoring a degree of 3 polynomial means that I would need to factor by grouping. So if you'll look at this, in this first group, I can factor out an x squared, and I'm left with this. But if you'll notice, in the second grouping, there's nothing I can factor out of 10x and 3 that's going to leave me with x plus 6. So the answer to this question is no, I can't factor. So what do I do next? Well, the next thing I'm going to do is find the possible rational roots. That's my next step. So I'm going to have plus or minus, and then my constant is 1 and 3, and lead coefficient is 1. So I've got plus or minus 1 and 3. And if you want to think of it this way, it might make it a little bit easier for you to think of it this way. I've got positive 1, negative 1, positive 3, negative 3. Okay, so once I do that, the next thing is to try the trick of 1, because that will either tell me what one of my solutions is, or it's going to eliminate a choice in this list right here. Okay, so for the trick of 1, I've got 1x cubed plus 6 plus 10 plus 3. Well, this adds to, let's see, 7, 20, right? Okay, so that adds to 20. That means that 1 is not a solution. So I can eliminate positive 1 as a solution. So now what should I do? Well, now I'm going to look at my list here, and I'm going to try the next number. So I'm going to use synthetic division to see if negative 1's a solution. Let's make sure Miss Griggs did her math right. Okay, so negative 1 is not a solution. All right, so that didn't work. So now I'm going to try 3. One comes down, I've got a 3, a 9, a 27. Doesn't look like this one's going to work either. All right, so the 3 didn't work. So now I'm going to try negative 3. Let's hope this works, because otherwise we don't have any choices, right? So we're going to try this. So the 1 comes down, negative 3. That adds to that. That's beautiful. Oh, goody. That worked. So I know for sure that one of my solutions is x equals negative 3. Okay, since this polynomial is in the degree of 3, that means I need to find my other two solutions from the quadratic here. All right, so I'm going to try to factor, because that for me is the easiest thing to do. And if you'll notice, 1x and 1x are not going to add to 3x, so this won't factor. What do? Well, we have to use the quadratic formula. All right, so remember, the formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Remember, there's a song, x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I know, you're excited. All right, so this a, b, and c. Well, a, b, and c come from my quadratic that I have right here. So if I'm looking at x squared plus 3x plus 1, a is 1. It's the coefficient for x squared. B is positive 3. C is 1. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I am going to show you what the formula looks like with everything in place except for my substitution. There's a reason I'm going to do this, just bear with me. Okay, now I want you to look at, I'm going to put parentheses in here. Everywhere you see parentheses, that's where you're substituting in a value. Everything else in the formula stays exactly where it is. Notice I've included my signs here. All right, that's because they're part of the formula. They could change if I substitute in a negative, but you have to pay attention to that. So I'm going to substitute in B, which is 3, in all these places. I'm going to substitute in A here and here. I'm going to substitute in C right there. All right, so once I get those values in there, I've got a negative 3 plus or minus, and 3 squared is 9, and then 4 times 1 times 1 is 4, and then I've got a 2. So this will simplify a little bit more. X equals negative 3 plus and minus 9 minus 4, which is 5. Now we're just going to leave that square root in there. We don't have to find the decimal, but I want you to notice that because of the plus and minus, these are two solutions. So the other two solutions I have just found. So X equals negative 3 plus the square root of 5 over 2, and X equals negative 3 minus the square root of 5 over 2. And of course, I already found over here that X is equal to negative 3, so my 3 solutions are right there. Excellent, beautiful, gorgeous. Okay, we'll do the next example in the next video.